Cool. So let's get started, everyone. Thank you for coming to our first webinar. Um, I met a lot of you guys in Dallas 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I don't know how long ago. It's been a long time since all we're in quarantine. So I met a lot of you guys and mentioned and asked me why or how I was hiring virtual assistants to run my business. And they asked me, I don't know, like 4 or 5 people. I don't know why. I'm not an expert on virtual assistants. I brought an expert today with me, but I'm just like one of you guys that started cleaning a business, and I started applying some of the best practices. And this time is very, we have a very unique situation in our industry now with, the COVID situation. So I want to really show you how I run my business very lean in the last, for the last 10 years. Well, I've been 15 years, but the last 10 years I've been hiring other people. The first time I was on my own with my wife. And now I wanted to show you how, we've done it. And reducing cost is the key word for this seminar, because we need to cut costs in order to stay afloat and keep our business up and running. So let's get started. So COVID-19 really is making us rethink everything, right? From hiring to marketing to everything, how we do in our business, and especially now how we operate our business. We could in the past really afford a big office, a big cars, fleets, etc. And not anymore. We have to really find a way to run our business in a leaner, more simpler way. So I want to share why I started using VAs in the beginning. Well, back in 2015, I was invited to participate in a technology accelerator in New York City. I was building software with my brother and another partner. We were trying to build some type of like concierge for homes that will come and manage all of your house. So from lawn care to maid service to electricity. So this will be like a, person that will take care of your house completely, and you will be basically doing nothing. That project never took off. The investors never liked the idea that much, and I decided to go back home and keep working on my business. But during that process, that I was focused building this product, this software, I had to have someone do my scheduling. So my wife took the time and started finding people until, she found a lady in Philippines. She's an amazing lady. She still works with me today. And it's been pretty much, 5 years with her. And she has become better and better as, she's been growing with our company. So I had no choice. And this helped me really push the limits of myself and let go of the control. I don't know if it happens to you guys, but we like control a lot, and this pushed us to not, let go of this control a lot. Also, it helped me think through every business process. Most of the times we have all of the processes in our mind, in our head, in a piece of paper, and in reality, that's it's holding us from growing our business. Everybody that wants to grow always needs to be able to think their processes and show them and teach them to somebody else in their office. So that's why I started using them. Now let's get into where to find them really. Well, I use Odesk a lot. In the past it was called it used to be called Odesk. Now it's called PipeHire. What's their name now?
It's not Odesk. Didn't used to be Upwork, is it?
It's Upwork now. There you go.
Okay.
It's Upwork now, but I still remember Odesk better than Upwork. Freelancer, and there's Taskaway. It's a turnkey solution. So there's multiple places to find them. You can even find, somebody that it's a stay-at-home person that just it's okay working from home in your own town. That could work too. But I do like people that are in international places, because they're hungry. These people want to work very hard. They want to make it happen for your business. And also that, they're in a different time zone. And for me, that's important because sometimes, at night after 6, 7 p.m., we're processing payments, and there is people working for me after 7 p.m. if I need to. Also on Sunday nights, we have to do some checks to our schedule because we get, people canceling, pushing, rescheduling. So, she logs in at, 9 p.m. at night and Sundays, and she basically goes through and checks everything. So when Monday comes, we're not like at 8 p.m. trying to reschedule or any other thing. It's ready to go. Monday starts without so much stress. Now, what do we look for when we're hiring virtual assistants? We're trying to find, first of all, reliable and accountable people. That's the first and most important thing. Why? Because you're going to delegate a big part of your business. Could be scheduling, could be bookkeeping, anything that you want. You need to find somebody reliable and accountable. Also, you need to find that they know how to write and improper grammar. If you find misspells in my presentation, I apologize. I did this, at night. But grammar and good, writing composition, that's very important because they're going to be writing to your clients, and we like to, stay professional. English writing and speaking skills. This is obviously the most important part. Speaking is the really most important because they're going to be picking up your phones most of the time. That's why I have most of my people doing phone support, email support. And how do you find somebody that has a really good speaking and English level when you hire them? Well, the way I do it is when I post a job, I upload also a PDF with the questions or the script that we have as a company when we're selling on the phone. So they have to record their voice with your script. So you basically get applicants, you just get their PDF, their MP3 files, you download into your computer and you start listening to them. This will allow you to hear pretty much how those people will pick up their phone for your company. That will give you a lot of insight. Just that is the biggest and most important tip for me when I'm hiring somebody, a virtual assistant. When I hear a great voice and a professional communication on the other side, I'm immediately hooked for hiring this person. I know I can teach them anything else, managing software, managing my scheduling, managing anything. But if I don't hear a good, English level on their phone, I get turned off pretty quickly. So for me, that's the most important thing you need to look for if they're going to obviously be picking up your phones for your company. If they're not going to do that, then not big problem. And that comes to also the accent, minimal accent or no accent possible. Obviously, I have an accent. I'm from Colombia, and Spanish is my first language. I've been here for 18 years, but I still have an accent, and it's hard to get rid of it. I know there's some virtual assistants that are very professional. They've gone through school to get rid of their accent. And I know there's people that have done it. And one of my current VAs, she has pretty much no accent. She speaks better than a lot of people I know. And she has a great voice. And that really brings a lot of professionalism when you're talking to clients, when selling, because they feel confident. So the voice is, I will say, 80% of the hiring process for a virtual assistant. Also, they need to be tech savvy. It's important that they know, obviously, how to use all these tools that we use. But again, you can teach them that through Zoom or through some videos trainings. But most of these people are going to be in the 30 to 40 year old range. Most people know how to use all these tools. What can they do for us? It's a very important question. In my opinion, the most important thing to do is sales, booking clients, quoting over the phone, scheduling, accounting, social media posting, graphic web design, anything you can think of. In my opinion, the best bang for your buck is literally everywhere. But for me, the most important will be the scheduling part and picking up the phone to sell. Why? Because I really don't have the time like I used to pick up phones and talk to clients. I'm on my computer working, building our business, improving things in our company, processes, making some corporate deals, trying to sell to other larger companies that have more apartments or units. So if I have to talk to a couple of clients a day, it's gonna eat up a couple of my hours a day. So typically the phone, very important, and the scheduling. If you have extra resources, you can outsource some of your accounting. I do that too, to process all payments at night. Social media posting as well. And then some, obviously I have my in-house graphic design and web design team. And but basically you can put them onto anything you want. Maria is asking me if, yeah, sure, Maria, if you have any feedback there, you can jump in, no problem. You want to say something?
Okay, good deal. I will. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good. So actually on the slide before, sorry, I've been quiet because I don't think we really talked about me jumping in, but on the slide before, as far as like what qualities to look for in a virtual assistant, the other one I thought of that's really important, and by the way, you guys, my name is Maria and I'm with Askaway. I own, a virtual assistant company, and we work primarily for maid service owners. So one thing that's really important for us to look for is somebody that's intuitive. So somebody that can take a customer complaint and, get all the information, walk them off the ledge to make sure that, they don't go post a bad review on Google, Yelp, and
there
Facebook.
You go.
So that's actually a super important quality that we look and test for. There's lots of different things that you can do to test for those types of qualities. And then on what a virtual assistant can do, if you want to go over to the next slide.
Sure.
One thing, yeah, what can they do? So for us, it's the handling all the day-to-day. So, as a maid service owner, and I owned a maid service for 14 years. We sold, about 2 years ago now, literally took it from a mop and a broom and, Windex at Walmart to, 36 cleaning techs and 5 managers, and right at a little less than $1 million before we sold. So it's really all the day-to-day that kind of gets you and kind of sucks you in, right? It's the, the broken vacuums, I can't find Mrs. Smith's house. Oh, Mrs. Smith is usually home and her key is underneath the mat and now it's not. What do we do? It's all those little easy tasks. I mean, they're easy. Anybody can pick up the phone and deal with them. But in the course of the day-to-day, when you're actually trying to focus on your business, it's really impossible. So a virtual assistant should, can take all those little tasks off your plate, and they should.
Perfect. Thank you, Maria. Yeah, I totally agree. Cool. So let's keep moving on. How to interview them? Well, you start by writing a good posting, a good job description, what your expectations are, deliverables. You need to be very clear of what you want out of this virtual assistant. So it will be scheduling, then you really spell it out. You need to be available from 8:30 to 5:30 on the email, on the phone, chat. You need to book the jobs, so and so. At the end of the day, you need to make sure all the, the jobs are closed and processed. I mean, you need to describe how you want the job done. Just like you do it, describe it, all right? What's also important questions to ask, time zone are you in and what hours are you available? I typically put the hours myself that I need to. I don't really say what are your times, but I say this is my schedule for my company, 8:30 to 5:30 Central Time. You need to be available at that time to pick up calls, to pick up chats, whatever is the case. What are your primary skills? This is important because you want to know if they're really strong on sales or mostly like order taking or data entry. There's a lot of people that are very good just typing things in their computer, but they can't talk. Like, for example, I have one of my VAs. She's very quiet. She does mostly our scheduling, but she's very quiet. You know, if she could spend days without talking to me, she can. She just texts me. But she's amazing on the schedule. She knows inside out the schedule. She knows very well the city, the distances, everything that you need to know. And then I have the other VA doing all the phone support. Her voice is amazing. People really like her. Her voice transmits confidence, and she sells on the phone. So you need to know exactly what are the skill levels. And then I say they to upload their voiceover with your sales scripts. That's very important. That really gives you a hint of how they're gonna sound when you pick up the phone for your company, and really gives you a glimpse and a taste of that. Very important. You can run international background checks. Last time my wife did these checks for our VAs and crimcheck.com. But you can run background checks for almost any country out there, especially if they're going to be managing credit card information and sensitive information. If it's someone doing graphic design or social media posting, you don't need to really do a background check. They're more expensive. They're, I think, like $80 to $120 per check, compared to the US that's between $30 to $40. And then you want to do a video call. This video call, you meet face to face with this person, explain again the job description, and really explain everything that you're expecting from her or him. That also lets you see their face and how who you're dealing with. Because remember, you're not meeting these people pretty much never unless you go to their country. I try to have my VAs come to our end of year events in December, but none of them could get visas to come here. So I have not met them in person, and but I really have a really good relationship with them via video calls. So think on those things. Let's move on. How much to pay? See, there's just slides. There's slides. Yeah, hold on. Slides are on Zoom. Give me a second, guys. Here, let me share them here. Here too. All right. How much to pay? This is the most important question most of you ask me. How much do I pay them? Typically, between $5 to $8 an hour, you can find a good VA. Usually pay between 7 to 8. My first VA, that she's been with me 5 years, and I can literally go on vacation and she does all these things, the scheduling for me. She doesn't call me, doesn't bother me. She makes around $10 an hour, which in her country, it's a lot of money for them. They don't have to pay payroll tax, and I offer them pay vacation, benefits, birthdays, and Christmas presents, just like we do with our technicians. So they're in their countries, nobody's paying them that kind of money, nobody's giving them paid vacation. So when they you bring them into your company, you treat them like if they're here in the US, just exactly like it. The only thing is that you're not paying payroll tax. Sylvia is raising her hand. Hold on, let's see what she has to ask. Hey Sylvia, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. So
No worry.
off of the $5 to $8 an hour, what countries would that be?
What countries?
Yes.
I typically do Philippines. Yeah. If you're going to South America, Mexico through Chile, Argentina, you're probably gonna be in the 10 to 12 an hour. But the English level and the skills, like Filipinos are taught from early on when they start to be virtual assistants. Literally, that's what they do most of that, or going to the cruise ships to help people. So they're very amazing people. They're very careful. They like to please everyone. So, you know, that's my top recommendation for phone support and that price of range. All right.
All right, thank you.
No problem. All right. So we also offer them commissions, $3 to $5 per new subscription. So if they, you know, make 2 new subscriptions that they pursue, that they really worked on, they make an extra $3 to $5. So, you know, in a good day, they could, you know, make some extra good commissions. So, you know, when you translate these dollars into whatever money they have in their country, you know, that is, it starts to become, you know, real money. And this is something that really, you know, touches me, is that my 2 VAs have been able to buy their own homes in their countries with this job. And that's, for me, amazing. Their families are changed, their lives are changed. And, you know, I enjoy that they are able to accomplish those dreams too. There's a lot of people that, because they're, you know, they're not in your office, they're out of the States, that, you know, they don't treat them as people. They don't treat them as they should be. So I recommend that you treat them like they're in the US. They just have same good benefits, and you treat them just like they should be treated.
Juan, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm understanding you have 2 VAs in Philippines and they go to do different tasks.
Correct.
Now, how do you handle if those ladies, let's say, need to take a vacation or they're sick? Are you having someone here in the US take care of their task, or you have an additional person you can call and be like, hey, can you work for us for the next 6 days because our VA is out of work at the moment?
Okay, thank you. Well, you know, they hasn't happened a lot. So when, you know, she has an emergency, which is very rare, I just took on the calls for that day or the schedule for that day. But other than that, they've been pretty consistent, amazing. And they have to request, just like a technician, their vacation time. So, you know, we put it in the schedule, and I know, and I look at my job and like, okay, you know, March 31st to whatever, I have to find somebody else to help me, or, you know, or myself, I have to be in the computer that week helping out.
Okay, thank you. And then additional question on top of what you just say.
Yeah.
When you give them the sick days or vacation days, you do it based on labor laws in their country. Is that correct?
I really don't check that specific. I don't know what are their laws in specific countries, but I think I should, you know. Thank you for bringing that up. I just treat it like pretty much like a US person.
Okay.
But
That's how I would do it too.
It's good to check. I think it's not, you know, it's worth checking, you know, their local laws.
Okay, and you also mentioned health benefits.
Yeah.
How did you figure that out?
Health benefits? No, just regular benefits like paid vacation.
Okay,
birthday,
got
and
it.
Yeah. I don't offer any health benefits for them because each country is different, and some of them get through the government, but I don't even go that deep. But I treat them well. They make good money, and they can afford anything they want in their country, basically.
Understood. Thank you.
Cool.
And really, one thing we have found with the overseas workers is it's very much a different mindset than workers here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
in that they're just workhorses. They don't,
Totally.
you know, hey, I've got to go to the doctors. You just don't get that from them. You just get somebody that's super consistent. They don't take a lot of days off. A lot of times they're really loyal. They show up. It's kind of a different mindset than you know here in the US. Yeah. So we have at Taskaway, you know, we happen to not hire any overseas workers for, you know, a completely different set of reasons. But for even like our virtual assistants, we have to allow things like for time off and getting a backup VA if somebody, you know, needs to go to the doctor at 9 a.m. It just doesn't happen with the overseas people. It just doesn't. So there is definitely a benefit to doing, you know, the way you're doing it.
Yeah, yeah. There's different styles, and they, you know, I found the same thing. They're workhorses. They don't complain. I mean, I don't know if because,
They
you know,
don't complain.
in their country they're going through so much stuff that they can barely get a job, and you offer them this good paying job that pays them weekly. They're like completely, you know, fans of your company, and they will work and don't make any excuses. And that's something I really like. So how do you pay
Yeah.
them? You pay them via Zoom. I use Zoom.com, and it goes directly into their banks. It gets there pretty much the same day. There's a small fee in the transaction, but that's better than PayPal. I know Zoom is bought by PayPal now, but PayPal used to take, you know, longer and take a bigger cut of, you know, the transaction. Zoom is pretty much very. I mean, I think we pay. I don't remember if my wife has done, but I think we pay the fee of the transaction. So if they made, you know, $500, they pretty much get the $500 into their banks. So they don't get any impact. And now if the dollar, it's, you know, the rate of the dollar is higher, you know, and it's going up in that country, she's making more money as the dollar goes up in their country. So it's really, they're taking a good salary and working for you. This type of workers really could cost around $20 an hour plus payroll taxes plus other things in the US locally. I think, you know, it's really a no-brainer. I'm seeing here chat from Christopher that, okay, transfer-wise, okay, it is a good option too. I've seen it. Says the VA gets more money if you use TransferWire. Okay, thank you, Chris. I'll check it out. Cool. Let's move on to the next slide here. I show you guys this the lean made business model. I don't know if you guys heard of that. I came up with this concept. Obviously, the lean made concept is, or business model is something I've been doing for the last 15 years, and it's really work from home. You know, virtual assistants, employees are dispatched from home, and use software to reduce headcount. We've been, you know, accustomed to running really heavy operations with a lot of office space, you know, coming to an office every single day. And it really, you know, I love my company, I love my workers, but I don't want to see them every day, really. I don't, you know, want to be every day saying hello every day. I just really want to, I just want to run my business at home, do what I need to do. I'm raising two daughters at this point. So, you know, my time is very limited a day, and this could work for you or not, but in my world, work from home is my best option, and that avoids paying high rents. So the way I do that here, it's basically, you know, use an office or share space situation to save on office expenses. So you don't have that $500 or $1,000 a month office cost. I use the storage units across the city where I need to have supplies. I currently just have one, but you know, you could use several ones if you have a very large coverage area. So you could have small storage units which range between $50 to $100 depending on the size. Your manager or your technicians could go there as well. Obviously, you know, they could grab more things that they need to, but you can put a camera there and you know, kind of track them, or put a little board, and at that point, you know, have them write whatever they grab from the office or warehouse. The direct dispatch is obviously the model of, you know, sending your employees directly from their house to customers' houses. This equals, you know, they're using their cars, not your fleets. They're doing less driving and they're doing more cleaning. So, you know, as we're taught is, you know, we make money when they're cleaning, not when they're driving. So the more hours they're cleaning, the better, because they become really, you know, productive employees making $800 to $1,000 a week. If you make them drive to your office every day, no matter how short is that drive, they're still losing at least an hour a day, which could be $40, $50 extra a day. which could, increase to 20, when you pay them 25, 20 an hour times 5 days, 6 days, that really becomes $100 extra a month, a week. That usually becomes into $400 more per month. So think about those numbers. It could really add up quickly. And also use, virtual assistants. We use good software that really helps us, reduce costs in many things. So let me show you that slide here. This is what I use now. It's a combination of several things. I built with my team our booking system on our website. Everything that you see on our site is all custom done by us. We've been working for the last 3-4 years building our software or brand. And I really don't like the way other booking systems work. I think it's pretty, it looks pretty simple. It doesn't allow me to customize, like when there's a high fluctuation of jobs, so there's a lot of demand, I can adjust the price, just like Uber adjusts their pricing when there's a lot of rides coming in through. We can do that immediately, charge 5-10% more per cleaning, or in general, a percentage. I can also do custom, coupons. I can change many things that I wanted to have control of that. So that's why we built it. I use PipeHire, the software that we built, and that's basically doing all of my hiring, onboarding, attendance, files, birthdays, and anniversaries. As you grow your business, you're gonna have to track all of these data. If you have at least 10 people or at least 5 people, you're gonna start to see, gosh, I need to remember when their birthday is. I need to remember to track their attendance. I need to make sure I'm doing the onboarding right. I need to make sure I do the I-9 thing. And the more you grow, the more stress it becomes. So really systemizing the process of hiring is what has helped us, grow to $1 million business in the last 3 years. Because when you hire the right people and you retain the right people, you're also retaining the customers. You need to understand that the way you really grow your business is by retention of clients, and that means retention of good employees. And that's really the balance that you need to strive for, is that balance. When they are recommending new people to work for you, those are great signs. And when they're staying, in my opinion, 2 years plus, that's when you have a good company culture. That's when people are like loving to be here. They put in the teacher of your team, go and do the hard jobs, never complained. And that's what really makes those customers stay longer. All right. So for scheduling, we're doing still Java. We're custom building our own scheduling piece, but Java is still a great tool. Active Campaign for automated marketing. I use SMS, Text Magic for SMS marketing. I'm sorry for my typos here on the screen and on the slide. But we're building our own. Text Magic is expensive, so we're building our own texting system, because I found that these systems is very expensive. Plus, it doesn't allow me to segment my list of my customers well. So I really want to, or the way I use text marketing, SMS marketing, and we could do eventually another webinar on just this topic because it's huge, is that I take, and tag customers by zip code, at this point, just zip code. And then I want to blast, let's say, downtown. And I just need, because I have a technician in that area and I have a cancellation and I need to fill that spot. So what I do is I blast that specific zip code. Nobody else. I don't even send an email marketing campaign. It's too slow. People are not opening. So the text goes out and I say, hey, this is Juan from Gmates. we're doing a special today. I have an opening. I can send somebody to your house within the next hour. Please reply yes if you want us to come. The open rate is 20. Obviously, the reply rate is different than the open rate. The open rate is like 90% or more. The open rate, which they open it and reply to you, reply rate, excuse me, it's 20 to 25%. So from every text you send, about 25% will reply to you with yes or no, but it's really amazing. And so the problem with TextMagick is that when I blast this zip code in particularly, I cannot say, don't blast my current customers, just blast people that have quoted me with me, that have canceled, or people that just are, call us to ask questions. So, because the way it happens now is I send the blast and it lands on my customers too, say, hey, but I have an appointment today, don't we? And I'm like, yes, I'm sorry, it was a mistake from our part. But it's really the TextMagick error is that it cannot segment and differentiate between a real customer and a prospect. So, that's why we're building our own, and to really say, text this zip code, in just apartments with pets, and have contacted us in the last 2 weeks. They're still thinking on hiring somebody. So when I segment at that level, I can really nail down and target the very most active people. And that's what I'm trying to really build to make it, a really good product. I use QuickBooks Online for accounting, Stripe for payments, and I use Zapier or Zapier to connect them all. Cool. All right. Any questions so far? I think Jamie's raised her hand.
Hi guys. Yes, my question was, I think it was 1 or 2 slides before when you said that you pay your people your VA via Zoom. When it comes to your expenses and tax time, is there any issues with you doing business with people overseas? Because, for example, I know some people will send money back to their countries via Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this is business related. Is there like a limit that you can pay them? Is there gonna be like any issues with the IRS? Have you had any
issues? No, never. I haven't had any of those issues. I don't think there's any restrictions. You could double check, but I have never had any issues. I've been doing this for 5 years now. And, we paid thousands of dollars through the years to the VAs. And, I never heard in my accountant or CPA never told me, hey, you're spending too much money overseas or sending. Never heard of that. So I think it's just as valid as paying somebody here. Difference is that they don't live here. They don't have a social security number. They don't have to pay Uncle Sam a cut.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
All right.
Hey, this is Maggie again. I have another question.
Yeah.
So what type of tool are you using to keep track of your VAs? Like, for a fact that they're working, they're answering the calls. What's the procedures of like checking on them? I know you trust them because you build that relationship, but at the beginning, it's kind of will be a little bit more work, I assume.
Yeah, I forgot to put it in the list. Thank you, Maggie. It's called Hubstaff. Hubstaff.
How do you spell it?
I'm sorry, let me post it here to everyone. Hubstaff, HUV staff, Hubstaff. Yeah, there you go. Hubstaff is great.
The one that does.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
you're explaining it. So
that,
I was going to explain
it. Can really track, you can see their screen. It takes a screenshots of their screens and posts them for you. You can track the time they're logged in, the activity level. So if somebody's logged in, but they're not typing, they're like sleeping on the job, the productivity stat there is going to show like a low productivity versus somebody that's typing constantly, that is, doing something on their computer. The system tracks down those type of things. So Jackie says here, why do you use Stripe when QuickBooks is the same price? I use Stripe because since we built our own booking system, I use Stripe to validate the credit card, and then I process the credit card on Jobber. That's why. It's it's a better tool for me in my team to, you know, process credit cards and to verify that it's a valid credit card. The integration part is a lot easier with Stripe than QuickBooks Online.
And then Maggie, to answer your question about clocking in and out, I don't know what Juan uses. He might obviously use something different, but My Hours is a really good free tool for them to clock in and out. So then at the end of the week, you can see how many hours they worked and cut them a check based on hours. Because I don't know that HubSpot has a timekeeping software. Is that right? Or
Yeah, it
timekeeping
does.
feature.
It does.
It does. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It
Well,
tracks
there you go.
hours too.
So then two options.
Two
Okay.
options.
So HubSpot, there you go. So HubSpot and, you know, something like Clockify or My Hours, both free options.
Cool. So let me, well, Maria introduced herself earlier, but let me introduce you formally. So we kind of quickly met in Dallas. So I heard about great things from other, you know, business owners. And I said, you know, I'm not an expert on VAs, but let me bring somebody that's done this and cleaning. And that's why Maria is here from Taskaway. She has like the turnkey solution to hiring VAs. I show you like the do-it-yourself way to do it. Both work. It really depends on your time, your skills, how much budget you have. And let me, you know, pass this to Maria then.
Yeah, so I started Taskaway because after I sold my maid service, it didn't take me about 6 months to realize I really miss this industry. And the maid service industry, it's like a part of me. I love our industry, and it's really part of my identity. And I got my start when I got a cold call out of the blue from actually the owners that I sold to. And they said, you know, we watch you on Facebook. We know that you have a whole lot of time on your hands. So are you interested in being our, you know, a virtual assistant? And for me, that's like the perfect job. And so I picked them up as a client, and then I picked somebody else as a client. And then that second client just literally referred me to everybody. And a year later, we're working with about 60 maid services. Of course, not now because of, you know, COVID-19. I don't even know our numbers. I don't want to know our numbers. I just know that it's like, oh, we're hurting over here. But, you know, on a regular day, we've got a little bit over 60 maid services that we're working with. And, you know, something that kind of sets us apart is all of the interview, you know, things that Juan talked about is completely taken care of for you. And even, you know, I love Upwork. I hire people from Upwork all the time, but when you post an ad, you're going to be flooded with resumes, and it doesn't take long before, you know, you have to email them back. You look, you know, one resume looks like the next, and it all becomes like, oh my gosh, these all look the same. And so, you know, we go through all of that, and we know what we're looking for too, which is a little bit different because, you know, being here in the US, we really want virtual assistants that can connect with your customer on a cultural level, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a cleaning service in, you know, Hoboken in New York, if we can find you a virtual assistant that has a New York accent, now they're like, oh, this is my person, and they're going to be able to relate. And with being able to relate, then, you know, hopefully you'll get more sales and more closings and all of that good stuff. It takes us a lot to do it. Like, you know, Juan talked about the interview process. Well, our interview process is 4 different steps, and they interview with 4 different people before I even get their name on my desk. So before I even get anybody, they've already been through 4 different interviews, and one of them includes, you know, working interviews. So just like in the maid service, you guys might do working interviews, we do working interviews for Taskaway. And so basically what that is before a virtual assistant ever hits a maid service company, we, you know, kind of test them and see where their skills at before we actually place them. So little things like that is what Juan referred to as turnkey.
Right.
And then of course with that comes, training on all of the softwares. We're trained on, Jobber, Launch 27, Made Central, what else? Your service autopilot. What am I missing? Your ZenMaid, of course. So, we're going to be trained on all of those things. And we do ongoing training too. Like this, last week we did a training for Zapier for all of the virtual assistants. And this week we're doing training for Canva. And if you guys are familiar with Canva, it's basically a graphics program. We want to do that because our virtual assistants can then, do the social media posts and all the cute things on Canva. And, if you need integrations, and they can, go into your Zapier and your CRM and do those cool, Zapier automations that we all love.
Mm-hmm.
And then cost-wise, let's see, let me make sure. Do you service? We do. I love Ottawa, Ontario, right? So yeah, we definitely have a couple of maid services in Canada. That's not a problem at all. And then cost-wise, it starts at $26 an hour, but we do give volume discounts. So even obviously that's going to kind of sound shocking when, Juan just said, whoa, it's $5 to $8 an hour. And here we are on US based charging 26. So one thing that's a little bit different with Taskaway is, so yes, it's going to be about 26 an hour, but they're available 8 to 5. And so they're literally, on call for you all day long. And if you don't get your first phone call until, 4:02 in the afternoon, and it's, a 5-minute phone call, and that's all they do all day, then you're literally just going to be charged for 5 minutes. So even if it sounds like it's a lot, it's actually super, super, super affordable. And then of course, like the more activity you have, then we give discounts, volume discounts.
I mentioned this, it's called like on demand, kind of like an on-demand volume, right? On-demand model.
Yeah, for sure. And then actually, not sure who's Jacqueline. So yes, the conversion rate is a really big deal. I know for Canadians, and we do have a Canadian price for that. So if you're interested, I can talk to you about that. And we did that just for Canadians. So we don't really advertise that, but we do know that exchange rate it can get you. Let's see. And then advantages of do yourself versus hiring Taskaway. Yeah, I'll tell you, and Juan is really, really fortunate because he seems to have found the right people, and he's obviously by, doing birthdays and, benefits and all of that, he's managed to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is when you have to start all over, it's brutal. I mean, one ad can literally get you, 100 to 200 applicants, and then it's looking through the resumes, and then it's emailing them back to say, hey, when are you available to meet? And, get me your video. It's a lot of back and forth. And then it's also, what are you looking for as far as a VA? And knowing the difference between, okay, this resume looks amazing versus what we really need for the maid service industry, right? Because you're not just looking for someone that has an admin background or an executive background. I can give you a really good example. So this is one of our first hires that we had. She had an executive background. She worked for several law offices, and one of those law offices happens to be a law office that takes care of Oprah's people or whatever. So we're thinking, holy moly, she's like the best candidate because she's super professional and, an executive and very well-spoken, very educated. It didn't work. And I'll tell you why it didn't work, because she was too structured for our industry. And you and I both know that when we're, talking with techs, when we're talking with clients, we kind of have to have a lot of bend. We kind of have to have that personality that can kind of intuitively go, okay, this, employee is upset because she has to go to Mrs. Smith's house and it's a really dirty house. And, you've got to be able to kind of, calm them down and assure them they're going to be okay. It's not going to be bad. We're going to send help. And you have to have a person that can kind of navigate and through those, situations that we see on the daily with maid service owners. And so as part of our 4-part interview, those are things that we look for, and we test, and we test their sales, like just sales skills. So we don't ask them, oh, have you ever done sales? Because they can say, oh yeah, I've had a sales job before, and it's, you can look at it and go, okay, they have sales experience, but can they really sell? And so one of the things that we do in our interviews is, sell me. Try to see if you can get me to, go ahead and sign up for that cleaning service. So again, just turnkey, and just making sure that, once a virtual assistant is placed with a company, they're good, they're solid, and they're going to pay for themselves. And so
Cool.
Tasco is a little bit different because, we do hire all US based. We don't hire, though I'm actually not opposed to it at all whatsoever, because I've used overseas people, myself. And even when I had my maid service, I hired, a couple of stay-at-home moms, and one of them was overseas, and she was fantastic, and she was awesome. And yeah, so I'm totally for the overseas people. I'm definitely not opposed to it. But for Tascaway, we just decided to, just have a different culture and go with US based.
Cool. Thank you, Maria. Great information. So
Yeah,
let's move on here. I guess last slide. Well, if you guys know, in our group that we added you guys, or you came invited, is, we are building this product called PipeHire. And I built this specifically to help us really cherry pick, cleaning employees. That's what it was built for. Some of you guys are using it already, like Jacqueline, Maria, Renee. Some of the other people are using it in their businesses. And I was thinking how this product can help us during COVID-19 is like, obviously making you more efficient, more organized in your office, reduce headcount. Right now, let me show you guys my screen here for a second here. So the PipeHire really allows you to get organized, so you can get all your employees into this section here. You can edit their profile, track their absenteeism, their workshops they attended, last compliments, complaints. You can really track everything that you need in your business. This is, I guess, the most important part, is things fall through the cracks. Now, when there's a birthday coming up, it's going to be based on this date that is here, and a notification will show up on your screen, and also will remind you via email. You have an employment anniversary, also the system will notify you of that. What else? You can track compliments and complaints. You can enter them here. You can create a new compliment. The information goes, you select the employee here, the client, and then you write all this, and you can send a text message to employee. Why is this all important? Because you need to track down your A players versus your B players, and or C players, and then you can have a leaderboard with all your employees, the good ones, the bad ones, and you can tell your office, staff, or your VA, hey, give the jobs to the top 3 employees, in this season that we have not much work. So, you can also do your files, have organized all your files during this COVID situation, start to scan all those files that you have in paper, and then post them here. This all gets securely processed here. And then you can, file their I-9s here, warnings, payroll, injury files, anything that you need to, you can store it here. In this case of the virtual assistant, the product is really built for hiring anyone, but obviously it's now for maids. But you can build a form specifically for hiring a virtual assistant. So you can just kind of create it, the form, their basic information goes here, and then you can start questioning whatever. Do you have phone support experience? Do you you're authorized to work in the US? Sorry, you can edit it here and say what's your most what's your top skill, whatever you want. So you can assign points to, for example, for bookkeeping. If you're hiring for bookkeeping, you can say, whoever gives bookkeeping a check, then it was gonna get a point. And if it's available from Monday to Friday on my schedule, gets a point. And you basically build a point system for hiring your maid service, your maid employees, but also like a VA. So this is really the keys that has helped us in the last years find great people, because the system really filters down the best applicants from those that are a waste of your time. So what happens when somebody applies? Well, you get them in the funnel. They first go to see this page that you can embed on your website. And this is basically, you can change your logo here and start grabbing all your applicants from Facebook, from Instagram, texts, anywhere, Indeed. You can post this URL and basically bring those applicants. You could be hiring a virtual assistant, you can hire a maid, you could be hiring a supervisor, an office position, anything that you want to. Then you just build a new form, and that creates a new funnel. So we're teaching that you need to treat your employees, anybody that you're trying to bring into your company, like a client. You need to filter them out and pick the very best people to work with. If you want to embed this into your website, you just grab this code and put it in your website. Then it's loaded in your system automatically, and whoever applies then gets to this funnel section. The funnel really shows you your applicants, and it gives you the scores. So for example, this person, Camille Moore, has 10 points and 20 and 20 here. The beauty of this is that whoever does not complete the application process falls in this incomplete stage, and the system will send them an email reminding them of completing this. So this is like, I see it like an HR person in your office without the price of an HR and the desk of an HR person. So the system is doing all this screening for you, and then bring them into you in a silver platter, and then you really pick the very best people based on your scoring system that you create. The one I have is 10 points. You can create one for 50 points, and you can kind of customize it based on your own hiring experience and based on your location. And lastly, what you do here is you want to interview this person in person, and you drag them to this section, and you can pick, I want to interview them tomorrow at 12 p.m. The system sends them an email and a text notification of their interview. Then that's off your hands. And now you basically wait for them to show up. Once they show up, you drag them, and you hire them, you drag them to the active working section. And at this point, this is what I like the most. The things that I need to track about them, I have to forget about them because the system will remind me, which is birthdays, anniversaries, and the most important, expiration of documents. So if you guys know, we work with people that barely they forget about their having an updated driver's license, an updated insurance. So in this tab, you go here and you update, their driver's license expiration date, any paper, any document that they give you, you put an expiration in these fields, you save it, and the system reminds you in that day when it's going to expire 30 days before. And also it reminds you, you and the employee. So you're not doing the chasing. They just bring you the document and say, look, I brought you the document you've been asking. So this really makes your business run smoother and easier. So I want to wrap with this. If you guys have any questions, please start raising your hands. Let me go back to my slides here. So if you need a specific, or you have a specific question about PipeHire and how can you implement it in your business, but you don't have the funds right now to do any of these, please reach out to me. on direct message on Facebook, and I can hook you up so you guys can use it. I've started with some companies that really have a hard chance to make any profit because they're closed. But we believe that, you know, if we help you guys get organized and get your, you know, your company ready when this thing opens again, you're gonna be in a better position because you're organized and you're gonna be less stressed out. Thank you guys. Any questions, please raise your hand and I'll give you the microphone.
Hi, Juan. It's Jamie here in Ottawa.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Good. I just wanted to kind of let everyone know that we signed up for PipeHire about a month ago. And the reason we did that was because we spent a lot of time going through resumes that just were not a good fit for us. And we, since we've implemented PipeHire, it was mostly the scoring feature that we found saves us hours per week scrubbing resumes. So what we've done is there's a few things that we absolutely have requirements for, like a valid driver's license, valid insurance. So we scored those questions as a 10 points. So now when I get the results, I only look at applicants that score 70 or higher.
Okay.
Anybody that scores below that, I know for a fact they don't have a driver's license. So I don't even have to look at them.
Correct.
So it saved us hours per week. And that's just one of the features that PipeHire offers.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the reason we built it, because I had the same problems. Like, have a lot of applicants. I don't know who to pick. I don't have the time to go through all of them. I just need a way to show me, like, put attention to these people. Just talk to these 3 people. You don't need to do the rest. So thank you, Jamie. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Maggie again.
Maggie.
I will reach. Yeah, I know you. We had a demo already with the PipeHire, so I'll reach out to you this week again. But going back to hiring a VA, I think I wanna start doing it. However, I'm still very like disorganized. It's like there's so many tasks to do and organize, which I'm working on. However, do you suggest that I can start looking for people first and interview, or do SOPs for them first, so when I give them a job description, I can kind of guide them through what we're looking for? Because, you know, I don't think I can call to someone and be like, oh, you'll be answering phones or typing bills in or following up on payments without, you know, having a description of a job, how exactly to do it. What's your suggestion on the process?
Obviously, you need to look at 2 things. You need to see if you have the budget now to do it, to sustain this person, ideally a full-time person. And then you have to type exactly the specific job requirement. Because when you post it, you're going to start attracting the people that, you know, have those skill sets. So that's my opinion. You need to write down that. And then if you have the budget, you can do so. If it helps you get organized, I do think if you have somebody else doing things that you don't want to do, you can get organized in your business faster and better. And kind of, you know, I know you're going through the modules, but, you know, if it does help you to free up your mind, I wouldn't hesitate in hiring somebody, at least part-time, to help you get through things that you don't have time. Because, you know, when you're building this business, you need the time to focus and think. And
so what do you suggest for how to show them how everything exactly is getting done? You do videos? Do you type everything? Do you create a Word document with description of what we do and how we do it?
Okay. Yeah, good question. I have on my company, I have written articles in it's called like a help desk, or you know, a place that I written everything that I know, how to book a client, how to respond to a client. I also train them exactly of like, okay, I know you're New York City, so you teach them how's the city made of. These are the zip codes. These are the neighborhoods. This area, don't book clients in this area. So you have to write down all the things that you know are important for them to pick up a phone call and know and feel like they're a local person. So you definitely need to do that. I mean, I know it could take you months to do that, but at least you need to give them the very basics of what city they're working on, what's the requirements of the service, what do we sell, how do we sell it, how we close jobs, how do we schedule on Java or whatever system. And you need to teach them that very thing. And after, you know, and the way I do it is every 2 weeks I get on with them on the phone, on Skype or whatever system you have, and you teach them again more things. You train them every 2 weeks about different topics. So you could be doing a topic on how to deal with, you know, nasty customers, and you do that training every 2 weeks, and then in the 2 weeks you do another one, how to, you know, how to close more deals, how to follow up. And it takes about 3 months to really get somebody started well, because at the very beginning you don't have the time and they don't have the capacity to absorb all the knowledge that you have about your business. So that's how you get them started. You have to write them
I
that.
agree. Yeah, I actually agree 100%. And you've got a few tools at your disposal. So I don't know if you use ClickUp, but ClickUp is really wonderful because you can upload documents, you could record videos. So whenever you're training somebody, you always want to train them based on how, you know, us humans learn, right? Which is
Yeah.
the visual and which is the doing. So, you know, yes, definitely have everything. Well, exactly like Juan said, you want to teach them the basics of how to answer the phone. Here's the script, you know, these are the cities that we service. These are the cities that we don't, like just the basics to get them started, and then put everything in ClickUp. And ClickUp is great because you can have categories for every single thing. You can assign due dates. You can do subtasks. If you don't use ClickUp, it really is a magical tool, and it's free for the most part. So it's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
And
Cool.
so record videos for everything, whether you use Loom or Screencast. And then one thing you can do is make your VA responsible for writing your SOP. So when, you know, you know, a client calls and says something like, oh, you know, can you use my steamer or my steam mop on my hardwood floors? And the answer to that is no. Well, then make your VA responsible to make sure that simple question is included in your SOP, so that, you know, your next virtual assistant, or when you have to hire a sit down office manager, then it's not recreating the wheel. Everything, it's, you know, for lack of better words, it's like your whole entire Bible in, you know, in your ClickUp, or there's different tools, you know, to do the training.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
No
And
problem.
so it's ClickUp is the name of the tool.
Yeah, it could be any project management tool,
Any project
Asana
management
or Monday.
As-
I'm
Asana.
testing ClickUp. I heard it so much that I'm testing it now.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I get super excited about it.
Yeah, it's good. I see Jamie. Go ahead, Jamie. Let me unmute you. Or there you go.
With your virtual assistant, right now I have a virtual assistant, but she only helps me with like social media and duties that I give her daily. But I'm definitely, one of the things that have me tied up is that I'm still working with the phone. So how would I, what telephone system would you use to have these people in another country? How do you channel the calls to them?
Oh, okay. Well, I use Zendesk, which is, you know, it's basically a support system. It's a shared inbox system. I've used Ring Central in the past, like Chris Mondragon mentions. The thing, Zendesk is expensive, but because you pay per seat for everything. But what I like is that when somebody calls your office, that phone call becomes a ticket. It's kind of like an email. And then the VA picks up the phone and all that conversation gets recorded. And then you can hear that recording later and see how they're picking up the phone call. And also, if they're not picking up, then you can program the system to then ring you. So, you know, if you put them to work and they're not picking up the phone, and you're just, it's ringing to your phone all the time. It's like, what? So they're not picking up the phone. So you can really track down that. Also, like drop calls, uh, how many phone calls they picked up in a day. And you can really, within hub staff that you're seeing their screen and SanDisk, you could literally control every single thing of their office, their computer. It's like having them next to you. So
Yeah.
that's what I use.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it any other way, that I cannot track the phone calls or anything, any message, any email, any text, anything that goes out of my office to a client. I need to track it, and I need to know what they're doing, because it could get very sidetracked very easily, and you need the control, the complete control of all these things. So you know, when you're in vacation and you check SanDisk, you can say, okay, yeah, they're working, and that's for your peace of mind. And also they know their calls are being recorded, and they act differently when they know this is being recorded.
Okay, perfect. Also, how how would you recommend making that switch? Because right now my phone, so I do have I have an extra phone which used to be my business phone, but because of my situation with my husband being military and all that, little by little throughout the years, probably 90% of the calls now come to my personal
Phone,
yes, my personal
cell phone.
so I'm trying to see, like right now I'm in that point where, okay, do I need to give away my number and just handle it to somebody else, or will this SanDisk, how could I start separating those?
Sure. There is SanDisk, there's FreshDesk, there's multiple ones. You just need to make sure the one that you can track their phone calls. But the way you do it is the client calls you, and you could do two things. You can pick up the phone and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm gonna have Marie call you back. She's our new scheduling person. She will help you.
Okay.
That's one option. The other option is like you text them back, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not available on this phone anymore. I have a new office person picking up phone call. Please call this number. So you can do both. And eventually, and then people start to notice like, oh, she's not picking up the phone anymore. Let me call her virtual assistant. And then that's how you start to get away from these phone calls. If you give them your cell phone, they're gonna hit you up at 12 at night. Hey, this mirror is dirty. Come back tomorrow. So don't give out your cell phone anymore. Just start giving them the new phone, and do it slowly but surely, that eventually people will start to recognize that you're not picking up the phone call anymore. And I know you had a really good relationship with your clients, but when you hire somebody that's professional and can answer the phone like pretty much like you do, they won't have a problem talking to that person. So that's your fear.
And another one, somebody asked, Christopher wanted to know, and I'm curious about this too, is I've used Zendesk before. I really like Zendesk, and I love the feature of being able to record the calls. It's so important. If all of a sudden you're not getting sales, you can listen back on those phone calls and go, oh, there it is. They're not, coddling their clients, or they're not answering questions, or they're interrupting, whatever the case is. Christopher would like to know how much you pay for Zendesk.
We pay, I have, those two VAs. I have the bookkeeping person. I have like 6 people in Zendesk. So those 6 can, reply to text and different things. But the ones that can call and talk to people are just 3, me and the 2 VAs. So between that and the minutes, because the minutes are charged separately, that's around between $400 to $450 a month. So it is on the expensive side. I've been trying to move away from it. I just haven't found a tool. I know that FreshDesk it's like a competitor for it. It's a little bit more affordable, but I have not tried. And the thing is that I have 100,000 tickets already into Zendesk. So translating all those tickets into that system, puts me nervous. And I don't know if I also can retain my phone number. So I'm kind of locked up into this system at this point. But it's gonna cost you a little bit of money, the software, but you're saving on on having good VAs working for you, and you're saving on that. So that's my take on Zendesk. It's good, but it's expensive.
Yeah,
but,
I prefer. Yeah, I actually prefer Freshdesk over Zendesk.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, if you're moving over to a system, another way to do it is if you're moving over to a system like Ring Central. One thing you can do is port your number over. And so just like if you happen to have T-Mobile, right, and you want to switch to, Sprint or Verizon or whatever, it doesn't mean that you give up your phone number that you've had for 20 years. It just means that you give permission to whatever company you're moving to port it. Yeah, to say, okay, that phone number is now owned by you instead of T-Mobile. And so if you're going with, your Ring Central, your Jive, your Mighty Call, there's, your Grasshopper, which I never recommend, but that's something different. But you can just have your number ported. And if you guys are interested, I have a really good list that we've compiled for the phone questions. So if you jot down your email, I won't spam you, I promise, at all. But I'll send you a list of the popular phone systems that people use in the maid service industry. And I'll kind of list them from the, Ring Central is Ring Central and 8x8 are going to be one of the more expensive ones, all the way down to your Google Voice and your Grasshopper that are inexpensive.
I don't know if Ring Central allows you to do the recording of calls.
Yep, they do.
Yeah. Okay. I used it years ago.
Plan,
I didn't
right?
like it that much, but I mean, nowadays, pick your tool, but make sure you're tracking calls and know how many they're picking up, they're hanging up, and that's the most important thing.
Yep, got it. And let's see. So I've got an email. The info at QB Clean, is that Christopher?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, good. Yep. Yeah,
Cool,
I'll be
guys.
happy to email you guys.
I don't see any more questions. Seems like you guys have all the answers with you. Thank you so much for coming into this first time webinar for me. I hope I did a good job. And we'll be, inviting you to other seminars down the road. Please, talk to Maria if you want to get help with, Taskaway. If you have other questions about me, about our business, or how can you use PipeHire, please, let us know. And we appreciate you coming here. Stay safe, take care, build your business, don't give up. It's gonna happen. It's gonna get better soon.
Thank you, Juan. You were awesome.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
Bye, everyone.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.